She pushed the money away. $200 million in a briefcase sitting right in front of her. And this little girl, this 9-year-old girl from the south side of Chicago, just smiled and said, "I don't play for money." The room went silent. The man across the table, one of the most dangerous men in the world, just stared at her, his hands still open, his eyes doing something they hadn't done in years. Blinking. Confused. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, because before that moment, before that room, before that briefcase full of cash that could have changed everything for her family, there was a milk crate. Before we go deeper, subscribe, like, and tell me, have you ever witnessed anything even remotely close to this in real life? Your comment and support helps us bring more wonderful stories, and trust me, you won't want to miss them. Southside Chicago, Thursday afternoon, the kind of heat that makes the sidewalk shimmer. Cece was 9, small for her age, big hair, bigger eyes, sitting outside Mr. Ray's laundromat on a plastic milk crate with a folding chessboard balanced on her knees. Nobody paid her much attention. That was the point. "Yo, you sure you want to do this, little girl?" The man was maybe 30, gold chain, red Jordans. He sat down across from her like it was already over. Cece didn't look up. $1? $1, he said, smirking. 14 moves later, he was staring at the board like it owed him something. She took his dollar, quiet, folded it, slipped it into her sock. That was her thing. No trash talk, no celebration, just the next game. Her daddy taught her that. "Cece, the board doesn't care about your feelings, and neither does your opponent, so you don't show them anything. You give them nothing." Her daddy was gone now, but his voice stayed. Her mom worked 2 jobs, double shifts at the hospital, weekends at the diner on Halsted. Most nights, Cece had dinner alone. She'd leave the money on the kitchen counter, 10s, 5s, whatever she made. Her mom never asked where it came from. Maybe she knew, maybe she didn't want to. Some things you let go, because asking hurts more than not knowing. Cece understood that too. She was 9, but she thought like someone who'd already lost something, because she had. It was getting dark when the black SUV pulled up. Slow, too slow for traffic, the kind of slow that means someone is looking. Cece felt it before she saw it. She didn't move, didn't run, just watched from the corner of her eye. The window rolled down. A man in a sharp black suit leaned out, said nothing at first, just looked at her, at the board, at the 3 grown men sitting around her who'd all lost their money. He said something in Korean to the driver, then looked back at her one more time and smiled. That smile, she didn't know it yet, but that was the moment everything changed. The wrong man had just noticed her. Now let me tell you about the man in that SUV. Because this man is not someone you want noticing you. 47th floor, downtown Chicago. Floor-to-ceiling windows, city lights spread out like a circuit board below. The kind of view that makes regular people feel small and makes this man feel exactly where he belongs. His name was Bae Sunyap, and if you knew that name, your day just got worse. He wasn't loud. That's the thing people got wrong about him. Dangerous men in movies are always screaming, throwing things, making speeches. Bae Sunyap never raised his voice. Ever. He didn't need to. When he walked into a room, the room changed. People stood straighter. Conversations stopped. Even his own men with guns and scars and 0 reasons to be afraid of anything, got quiet. That kind of power doesn't come from money. It comes from something older, something colder. Control. Every night, 8 p.m. sharp. Not 8:01, not 7:58. 8. His assistant would have the board set up, black pieces on his side, always black, a glass of water, room temperature, no ice, and one opponent. Sometimes it was a business partner, sometimes a rival he was testing. Once it was a senator, I'm just saying. The game was never just a game. It was an interview. Win, and you earned his respect, maybe a contract, maybe your life. Lose, and he learned exactly what he needed to know about you. Nobody ever won. Nobody. One of his men once got close, real close, made it to the end game. Bae Sunyap didn't blink, didn't shift in his seat, just moved one piece, and it was over. The man packed up his things and left the room. Didn't come back for 3 days. That's what losing to Bae Sunyap did to a grown man. So when his guy Min Jun walked in holding a phone, mid-game, might I add, Bae Sunyap looked up slowly. Just his eyes. Min Jun swallowed. You need to see this. He turned the screen around. Shaky footage, street corner, south side. A little girl sitting on a milk crate, destroying grown men at chess. No expression on her face, no celebration, just move, win, next. Bae Sunyap watched the whole clip, maybe 40 seconds. Then he leaned back and smiled. Not a warm smile, not the kind that reaches the eyes, the other kind. How old? 9, sir. Silence. Bring her to me. Min Jun hesitated, just for a second. Sir, she's a... One look. Yes, sir. And that was it. No big speech, no dramatic monologue, just 4 words, and a little girl's whole world was about to get flipped upside down. He thought he found entertainment, but he just invited his biggest mistake. Now, if I'm being honest, when those men showed up at her corner, Cece should have run. Any normal 9-year-old would have screamed, dropped the chessboard, and sprinted home to Mama. But Cece wasn't normal, and that was both her gift and her problem. Black SUV, tinted windows, smelled like leather and expensive cologne. One man up front, one sitting next to her in the back. Nobody spoke. Cece sat straight, hands in her lap, watching the streets change outside the window. South side to downtown to somewhere that didn't look like anywhere she'd ever been. She counted turns, memorized landmarks. Her daddy taught her that too. Always know how to get home, baby, even if they don't want you to. They pulled into a parking garage, underground, the kind with no signs and cameras that were definitely recording, but definitely not for your protection. She was walked through a back corridor, past 2 security checkpoints, past men who didn't smile and didn't blink. And then, the room. Listen, I've seen fancy rooms in movies. I thought I knew what luxury looked like. I did not. This room had dark wood panels, low gold lighting, a chandelier that probably cost more than my entire neighborhood, and in the center, a chessboard. Marble pieces, like actual marble. The board itself looked like it was carved from something that used to be a museum. Cece looked at it for exactly 1 second, then started scanning the room. That's when she heard them. 2 guards, side hallway, talking low, but not low enough. She didn't move, didn't turn her head, just listened. Magnetic system under the board, signals through the earpiece. He won't even have to think. And the girl? A laugh, short, mean. She's the show. He wants her to fall apart on camera, make an example. In front of everyone? That's the point. Cece stood very still. Okay, so the board was rigged, the game was rigged, and she was brought here specifically to be humiliated in front of a room full of people. Now, most kids, tears, panic, full shutdown. Cece? She tilted her head slightly, started running calculations. Magnetic manipulation means the pieces have resistance. Subtle, but there. Watch the drag on certain squares, map the pattern, turn their cheat into information. 9 years old, doing this in her head, in real time. I'm still struggling with basic parking math, and this child is running counterintelligence at a chess table. Respect. A man in a suit appeared at the doorway. Game starts in 17 minutes. Cece nodded slowly. But something else was sitting in her chest now. Heavy, wrong. This wasn't just about chess. This wasn't just about her. Something else was happening in this building tonight. She could feel it. She just didn't know what it was yet. And what she didn't know was that she wasn't even the real target. Here's the thing about being 9 years old. Nobody listens to you. Like, nobody. You could walk up to an adult with a full PowerPoint presentation, footnotes, bibliography, 3 witness statements, and they'd still say, "Sweetie, go sit down somewhere." Cece was about to learn this the hard way. She moved fast, quietly, back into the hallway, found the dealer first. Middle-aged guy, bow tie, shuffling cards out of habit even though this was a chess room. I don't know either. "Excuse me." He didn't look up. "Sir, I think something's wrong. The board in there." He finally looked at her. Slow. Unimpressed. "Kid, pause. Stay in your lane." And he walked away. Just like that. No follow-up question, no, "Wait, what do you mean?" Just lane, stay, bye. Cece didn't flinch. She turned. Walked to the security checkpoint at the end of the hall. Big guy, arms like refrigerators. She had to tilt her head all the way back just to see his face. "I need to speak to someone. I heard the guards talking. There's a magnetic system under the—" He looked down at her, blinked, then laughed. Not a small laugh, a full laugh, the kind that echoes. "You think you smarter than us, little girl?" His partner joined in. Cece waited for them to finish. They did not finish quickly. She walked away. Okay, I need to pause here because this part genuinely frustrated me when I first heard this story. Like, she's 9. She's scared. She's in a building full of dangerous men, and every adult she approaches just dismisses her. You know that feeling when you're trying to warn someone about something and they just won't listen? Multiply that by 1,000. That was Cece right now. Last try. She found the assistant. Young woman, clipboard, headset, moving fast through the prep room. "Excuse me, I really need—" "Not now." "But it's important. There's a plan to—" "I said not now." She was gone around the corner before Cece could finish the sentence. Gone. Cece stood alone in that hallway, and for the first time all evening, she went still. Really still. Not scared still, not sad still. Thinking still. She replayed everything. The guard's conversation, the magnetic board, the camera positions, the way certain men kept checking their watches, the exits she'd counted coming in, and then it clicked. The rigged game wasn't about her, it was about him. The chess match was a distraction, something to keep Bae Sun-yup sitting in one place, eyes on the board, while something else happened somewhere else in this building. Something that had nothing to do with chess. Something final. At this point, would you walk away or risk everything? Drop stay or leave in the comments, because what Cece decided next changed everything. 10 minutes left on the clock, And now she knew someone in this building was about to die. 10 minutes. She had 10 minutes to figure out how to stop something she couldn't fully see in a building full of people who wouldn't listen to her, while also sitting down to play chess against one of the most dangerous men in Chicago. Normal Tuesday, honestly. They walked her in at 7:52 p.m., and the room was something else. Dark wood, low light, maybe 40 people standing around the edges. Men in suits, women in evening wear, nobody smiling, everybody watching. And in the center, that table. The chessboard under the light looked almost holy. Marble pieces, perfect symmetry. And next to it, the briefcase. Open, facing outward. Stacks of hundreds, neat, clean. So much money it didn't even look real anymore, like a prop from a movie. Except it wasn't. $200 million. Just sitting there. A man in a gray suit stepped forward. Microphone, very calm voice, like he announced impossible things every day. Maybe he did. The rules are simple. Beat him, and $200 million is yours. Murmur through the crowd. Then Bae Sunyup walked in. Black suit, no tie, that same cold energy that made the room shift the moment he entered. He sat down across from Cece without looking at her. Then he looked at her and smiled. That small, slow smile that didn't mean warmth, that meant, this will be quick. Cece sat straight, hands in her lap, face nothing. Gave him exactly what her daddy taught her to give. Nothing. But behind her eyes, she was working. She clocked the guard by the left exit. He kept touching his earpiece. Small gesture. Habit. The man near the back pillar hadn't moved once since she entered. Not to check his phone, not to shift his weight. Positioned. The camera in the corner wasn't on the board. It was on the door. 8 minutes. She ran the numbers. A sniper needs line of sight. This room had 3 possible angles from outside. 2 were blocked by the crowd, which meant the shot was coming from above. And the game, this whole setup, the briefcase, the crowd, the announcement, was just noise. Something to lock Bae Sunyup in one place, head down, focused. A perfect, still target. I need you to understand what Cece was carrying right now. She's 9. She's from a broken-down block in Chicago. She came here to play chess, and now she's the only person in this entire room who knows what's actually happening. The only one. The dealer set the clock. 8 minutes. Bae Sunyup picked up his first piece, and Cece felt it hit her chest like a stone. If I just play, he dies. If I stop the game, I blow everything, and nobody in this room will believe a word I say. She looked at the board, looked at him, and made a decision. And then she made a move that wasn't on the board. She played. That's the part that gets me every time. Knowing what she knew, feeling what she felt, she sat across from this man. And she played. First move. Clean. Confident. Bae Sunyup responded without looking up. Casual, like he was already thinking about something else. The crowd watched in polite silence. Second move. Cece. Third. Him. By move 5, something changed in his face. Just slightly. Just around the eyes. He leaned forward. A little. By move 8, he was fully locked in. No more casual energy, no more half attention. He was present, and the room felt it. The murmuring stopped. People shifted closer. Because this little girl was not losing. I'll be honest, this is the part where I would have already messed up. I'd be so distracted thinking about the sniper and the guards and the whole assassination situation that I'd accidentally move my bishop into a trap and embarrass myself in front of 40 strangers. But Cece, she was playing 2 games at the same time, chess and survival, and winning both. 6 minutes in, she tracked the guard by the pillar. He'd shifted, barely, but enough. Adjusting angle. The man near the exit touched his earpiece again, twice this time. Signal received. Clock on the wall. 2 minutes left. Her heart rate stayed even, her face stayed empty. But inside, now. It has to be now. She knocked the pieces over. Not by accident. She swept her arm across the board. Marble pieces scattered, hit the floor. The sound cracked through the silence like a gunshot. The room gasped. Bae Sun-yup's eyes went cold so fast it was frightening. And Cece grabbed his sleeve. This 9-year-old girl grabbed the sleeve of the most dangerous man in the room and said, "Don't make your next move." He stood slowly, the kind of slow that meant rage was being held on a very short leash. "Do you know who you're talking to?" Low voice, ice cold. The guards started moving toward her, and Cece leaned in, started whispering, fast, precise, like she was reading from a document that only existed in her head. Sniper position, 3rd floor window, north facing. Signal timing, 2 earpiece clicks means ready, 3 means fire. The distraction window, exactly when the clock hit 0. She described the plan step by step, beat by beat. Then she looked directly across the room. Ask Park what he said in the hallway 40 minutes ago. The guard named Park went completely still. Silence. Not the polite kind, the heavy kind, the kind that presses on your chest. Bae Sun-yup looked at Park. Park looked at the floor, and every person in that room understood in that moment that this little girl wasn't guessing. Bae Sun-yup turned back to her slowly. Something moved across his face. Not anger anymore. Something else entirely. Something this man hadn't felt in a very long time. And for the first time in years, Bae Sun-yup hesitated. 1 second of hesitation. That's all Cece needed. Because Bae Sun-yup was many things. Cold, calculated, dangerous. But he didn't get to where he was by ignoring his instincts. And right now, his instincts were screaming. He looked at Park one more time. Just looked. Park broke in about 4 seconds flat, started talking so fast his words were tripping over each other. Names, locations, timelines, the whole thing unraveling like a cheap sweater caught on a nail. Bae Sun-yup didn't react. He just turned to his head of security and said 2 words. Lock it. What happened next was a lot. And I mean that in the most chaotic way possible. Guards started moving, radios crackling, people in the crowd backing toward the walls. The woman in the evening gown knocked over a champagne glass and nobody even flinched. Because outside, it was already going loud. Shouts from the rooftop, running feet on concrete, then a scuffle, then the unmistakable sound of someone hitting the ground hard. The sniper had been spotted. 3rd floor window, north facing. Exactly where Cece said. I need you to stop and think about this for a second. A 9-year-old girl who nobody listened to, who was laughed at, dismissed, and ignored by every single adult in that building, was the only reason this man was still breathing. The only reason. If she stayed quiet, If she just played her chess game and minded her business like every adult told her to, he'd be gone right now. Gone. 2 of Bae Senyep's own men were taken down in the lobby. Not outsiders, not rivals from another crew. His men. People who ate at his table. People he trusted. People who'd been inside his operation for years, working against him the whole time. The $200 million game, the crowd, the cameras, the whole spectacle. Cover. A perfectly designed distraction to put him in one spot, on camera, head down over a chessboard, while the real move happened 3 floors above him. Bae Senyep stood in the middle of that room, controlled chaos everywhere around him, and he looked at Cece. Really looked at her, maybe for the first time since she walked in. Not like she was entertainment, not like she was a pawn, like she was something he didn't have a category for. She was standing exactly where he left her, small, calm, watching him with those big, steady eyes. He walked over slowly, stopped in front of her, and said quietly, almost to himself, "She didn't just challenge me," he exhaled. "She saved me." Something shifted in him right then. You could see it. Even the man around him could see it. Like a wall, developing the tiniest crack. Just one, but still, a crack. But what he did next shocked everyone. He knelt down. Bae Senyep, the man who made grown men go quiet just by entering a room. He knelt down in front of a 9-year-old girl and said, "Are you okay?" The whole room heard it. Nobody moved. I think some of those guards genuinely didn't know how to process what they were seeing. One of them looked like he needed to sit down. I understand, honestly. 3 days later. Penthouse, 47th floor. Cece and her mom sat on a couch that probably cost more than 6 months of rent. Her mom was in her hospital scrubs, still had her name tag on. She'd come straight from a shift. She held Cece's hand the whole time, tight, the way moms hold your hand when they're scared, but they don't want you to know they're scared. Cece noticed. She always noticed. She squeezed back. Bae Senyep walked in without the usual energy. No cold entrance, no room-shifting power move. He just walked in, sat across from them, and for a moment, nobody said anything. His assistant placed a folder on the table, then another, then slid the briefcase forward, same one from the game room, still full. He spoke directly to Cece's mom first. Medical bills, gone. Back rent, cleared. A private academy, full scholarship, starting whenever Cece was ready. Her mom's hands were shaking by the 3rd sentence. She wasn't expecting any of this. Neither was I the first time I heard this part. I had to pause and just sit with it for a second. Then Bae Senyep turned to Cece, slid the briefcase toward her. "It's yours. You earned it." Cece looked at it. That same calm face, those same steady eyes. Then she looked up at him and pushed it back. Gentle, but clear. "I didn't do it for money." Silence. Her mom looked at her, Bae Senyep looked at her, even his assistant in the corner looked up from her clipboard. He leaned forward slightly. "Then what do you want?" No smirk this time, no strategy behind the question, just a man who genuinely didn't know the answer, maybe for the first time in a long time. Cece held his gaze, didn't rush, didn't fidget, and said, "Stop hurting people." 3 words, as quiet as anything, and they landed like a wrecking ball. something broke open in his face. Not dramatically, not movie style with tears streaming down, just a loosening, like something he'd been holding for years, finally put down. He looked at this child, this 9-year-old girl from a milk crate on the south side, who'd walked into the most dangerous room of her life and came out asking for nothing for herself. His jaw tightened. He looked away, swallowed. Long silence. Then, barely above a whisper, "Okay." And that one sentence changed everything. 1 year later. Same city, different world. Southside Chicago, Saturday morning. The old community center on Hawstead, the one that used to smell like mildew and broken dreams, had new floors, new lighting, new everything. And inside, 12 kids sitting at chessboards, foreheads creased, totally locked in. Some of them arguing, some of them laughing. One little boy in the corner was staring at the board so hard I think he forgot to blink. And moving between them, quiet, calm, steady, Cece. 10 years old now, still small, still that big hair, still those eyes that see everything. "Think 3 moves ahead," she told a girl in pigtails who was about to make a very bad decision with her queen. But what if 3 moves ahead, always? The girl looked back at the board, nodded slowly. This was her thing now. Every Saturday, every week. No skipping, no canceling. She didn't make a big announcement about it, didn't need a camera crew or a ribbon-cutting ceremony. She just showed up, like she always did. And the kids came, because kids always know who's real and who isn't. You can't fake that energy with children. They will see through you in about 45 seconds. Cece was real. They knew it. Now, here's the part that gets me every single time. In the back of the room, near the door, standing just outside the frame like he wasn't sure he was allowed to be there, was Bae Sunyup. No suit today, just dark clothes, quiet, watching through the window. His businesses were cleaner now. Not perfect, not overnight, but moving in a direction they hadn't moved before. Programs getting funded, quietly, the chess academy, the community center renovation, after-school meals 3 days a week, no press releases, no names attached, just money showing up where it needed to be. His men noticed. Didn't say anything, but they noticed. I think about what it takes for a person like that to change. Not a full transformation, not a movie redemption arc where everything is suddenly fine and beautiful. Just a turn. A small, quiet turn in a different direction. That's harder than it sounds. And it started with 3 words from a 10-year-old on a milk crate. Stop hurting people. At some point during the session, Cece looked up, saw him through the window, held his gaze for a moment, then nodded once. He nodded back. That was it. No big moment, no speech, just 2 people who understood something together that nobody else in the room knew. Same chessboard, the marble one. He'd had it delivered to the center months ago. No note, no explanation, just showed up one morning. She knew who sent it. Different table now, different room, different hands touching the pieces, but the same board that almost watched a man die was now teaching children how to think, how to see, how to plan for a future that feels impossible from where you're standing. He offered her $200 million. She turned it down without blinking, because what she gave him couldn't be bought, couldn't be stacked in a briefcase, couldn't be counted or measured or locked in a vault. She gave him a mirror, and the courage to look into it. A little girl risked everything, not for money, not for clout, not for a single thing that would benefit her. She risked everything to save someone who hadn't even shown her basic respect, and she did it anyway, because that's who she was. And you just watched her whole story without hitting like? Come on now. Don't be like the dealer who told her to stay in her lane. Don't be like the guard who laughed at her. Don't be like every person in that building who looked at her and saw nothing. You know better. Hit like, hit subscribe, because stories like this deserve to be seen.